Jesus Christ. That took forever. Okay, finally. You can now watch. I can now read this. These three. Okay. So, someone tries an escape room in a review, and the owner did not let it slide. Definitely never going back. Went there for my brother's birthday. There, we were disappointed by our experience. We played the attic room. There are two kinds of people in this world. People who leave reviews online about everything they encounter, and people who don't. There's nothing wrong with leaving a review. You can be super helpful to people. And that's the reason they're ever allowed to exist in the first place. The key word is transparency. And proper reviews let us know how good or bad a product is from a first-hand user. Of course, we all know some online reviewers can be deceiving. While most reviews are usually pretty accurate, there are some that are written by by petty individuals who feel scorned by whatever product or company they came into contact with. At that point, all bets are off. These people are out for blood. Stretching the truth in is commonplace for them because revenge is a right they feel entitled to. Well, actually, since you're a business, technically you either take the criticism or quit. That's how business works. In the case of this story, a man left a review on Yelp. It sounds like it was a girl though. His review was scathing, negative on all accounts, and underscored by a lowly 1 star. Reading what he said, you can come to your own conclusion, but we suggest wait to see the owner's response. The best thing about Yelp is that, however bad they might get, the owners or companies has an opportunity to respond in the case. That's exactly what happened. After the customer blasted the owner's escape room for a bad experience, the owner shed light on what actually happened. This was a refreshing to hear the story. For those who aren't familiar with escape rooms, let me give you a quick tutorial. They're a fun Okay. Brain stimulating groups, generally for a family or group of friends. The idea is simple. You are locked in a room, and you have to find a way to escape using clues and solving the puzzles. There are many variations of escape room. They pretty much always have a specific theme, i.e. Egyptian, pirates, Harry Potter, etc. The idea is that your group must solve the puzzles and find a way out to escape in under an hour if you want to win. Things you can't touch. Escape rooms are generally items that are meant to be touched, such as clues, riddles, and hidden maps and stuff like that. Then there are items that are meant to be left alone, usually items that are for scenery but don't actually help overall in the goal with the team. Okay, yeah, true. Escape rooms usually indicate which items can be touched and which items can't. The man in the story didn't really respect those rules, as well as dive into Yelp review, and the owner responds. You see a lot of criticisms of the escape rooms itself, but not much accountability for his actions, which was later pointed out bluntly by the owner. Okay, at what point are you just a petty bitch for not being able to take a little bit of criticism? Or at what point are you a petty little child for someone bashing your business? Or at what point, where's the line between you just take the criticism and say, okay, what he said wasn't okay, but I'm not going to rack my brain over it.
Right.
It was pulling out bullet. Not a happy camper. You don't have to be a genius to note that this man was not happy at all with his experience. Right off the bat, he opens the review with saying that he would not be returning. He talked about how he went there with his brother's birthday, and based on the details of his writing, it seems that he was with a large group. Definitely never going back. Went there for my brother's birthday party, and were disappointed by the experience. We played the attic room, which I think was the most difficult room. At the beginning, there was just a bunch of rules that you shouldn't do stuff and you shouldn't touch. If it's not or nor part of the game, put something better than dumb red stickers on this. The clues had nothing to do. I never could. I played the attic room and probably one of the after saying it was likely the most difficult one, he went crazy on a rant about how there were too many rules, primarily regarding things in the room that weren't allowed to be touched. Criticizing the game. The man went on a not just criticizing the rules, but that were put in place by the owner, but the game itself. He took issue with the fact that there were red stickers all over things that you couldn't touch, and said that it would have been better to replace those items with objects that were actually connected with the puzzle. This guy clearly very opinionated and isn't afraid to give the owner a piece of his mind. His grammar, spelling, and punctuation aren't the greatest. Okay, now I have a problem with that. It's because if the guy wasn't right, you wouldn't have pointed out his grammar, spelling, or punctuation. Okay? You don't do that. It's a bit hard to understand what he's writing, but you understand his main point nonetheless. Not fun enough. Fun, he then started talking about the clues and rules. According to the man, they weren't fun enough, and the attempt was not only a non-stop looking through codes and trying to solve the mystery itself and how to get out. The stickers on it, the clues had nothing to do with the story, and there was no fun clues or riddles. The whole thing is just an endless series of finding codes or locks and looking for keys. We finished the room, and when we finished the room, we met. Apparently, this man didn't realize that escaping the rooms are all about what do you expect in this game room. He seemed to be a bit unreasonable, but he didn't yet he wasn't done yet with his hefty review, disrespecting the owner. He got to the point in the review where his friends left the room, and he said when they met the owner, he was rude and that he really had no idea what he was saying. For the keys, when we finished the room, we met the owner, who was rude and didn't seem to know what he was talking about. I'm guessing he was just butthurt, that was it, and that we didn't like it. He called the owner a really rude name. He called him butthurt. He said butthurt. If butthurt really grinds your gears, get thicker skin. My fucking god. He then called the owner really rude and inappropriate. That's too inappropriate to say here. Wow, you're a pussy. But let's just say, according to him, the owner's bottom was quite hurt, and that's why he had been so disappointed. Signing off on his final comment, saying that his crew would never be coming back, and established that's because their bad time was there. So you have it. He was butthurt that we didn't like it. We will not be returning to this place. It was super disappointing. Insulting him. He criticized just about everything about him, but now it's time for the owner's response to the words. The owner started off by saying he appreciates the feedback he receives. He then thanked him for the review, and I'll bet how nasty it was, because to him, to us, and to everyone involved, it was obviously clear the courtesy isn't mainly his formality. Okay, this man's butthurt. Because if you're not butthurt, you would, if he wasn't butthurt, he would have shut his fucking mouth. Then it was time for him to get into the nitty-gritty and actually what happened at the escape room. Soon it became clear that all parties, that the original reviewer wasn't just rude, he was destructive, defending himself. The first thing he did was respond to the issue the man took regard to things that he couldn't touch. The owner explained it's common practice for all escape rooms to mark a handful of items with stickers. Shocking rooms. Like most escape rooms, there are clearly marked items which are not part of the game. These are also stated to your group, including oral intros on the website during the registration and signed waivers. Because they aren't meant to be touched, yet they're still conducive for the overall decor of the escape experience. He explained that this was explained on the website in the registration and on many other places, throwing some shade. That's what the owner started to get snarky. In the smoothest way possible, he said that it was unreasonable for him to expect to write down every possible bad thing the person can't do. Naturally, it's impossible to exhaustively and comprehensively list every conceivable activity one should avoid. For example, we do not explicitly warn guests against attempting to set the building alight because most recognize the benefit of avoiding such acts. As you can see, he went on to say that setting the whole building on fire, it seems that's what the person almost did. If that's on a giant pile of beautiful snarky chocolate milkshake and fries with chocolate milkshake with fries on the side, we don't know what is. Kind of just sounds like the dude's butthurt because of the review. It really does. Destructive things the reviewer's friends engaged. He said the group had ripped wires out of the props. The group ripped wires out of the props, wires which were wire-tied, taped, and had markers on them indicating that they should not be touched. These wires, the owner said, were all taped and had strong indicators that they were saying that they were absolutely not to be touched. But this was the tip of the iceberg regarding the damage that they caused. The biggest offense. The owner continued by saying that one of the people in their group yanked the wires and put them into a live electrical outlet. Mind you, this electrical outlet had been marked appropriately with warning stickers indicating that it should never be touched. A member of a group pulled out the wires apart and thrust the bare wires into the electrical outlets, also marked with red warning stickers, damaging the prop and tripping the breaker. When asked why they stuck the wires in the one responded, "I know a lot of electricity." Several participants, though, not only was there damage to the prop, but they also tripped the breaker. Fuck off! When the owner asked why they did this, they responded, "They know a lot about it." Yikes! It sounds like they really did a number on this escape room. Poor escape room. He actually gave them a refund. With all that being said, and after everything the group of hooligans had done to the escape room, the owner still offered them a refund. They had been extremely rude to him, and the owner did not know what to do. He realized that there wasn't going to be much reasoning with these people, so he kindly gave them their money back, even though the damage they inflicted was costing much more than that. Inviting them back. After all the damage the owner paid for, including all the time it took the owner to sign off with yet another generous offer. Even considering the time and effort it took to repair the damage, we would welcome you back, as long as the group follows our very few simple guidelines. He wrote the reviewer and his friends are still welcome back to his escape room anytime, as long as they abide by the rules. Very few simple guidelines. Something tells us that he wouldn't be happy if they returned, but sheds light on a handful of things. The tale of two citizens. There are all kinds of people in this world. Some try to be good in all things, and some people only seek to undermine everything they explore. Obviously, it's a bit more complex than that, but there are a lot of gray areas between the 2 points of polarity. But the story is a great example of this idea. Who is in this particular case, the customer or the owner? A bit on the crazier side. However, I would note that the group of friends obviously weren't your typical bunch. It seems that they were the kind of people who came from the wrong side of the tracks. Wow! Okay, now, I'm going to leave a comment on this. I know that they were kind of douchey, but saying they're from the wrong side of the tracks is basically saying that they basically weren't supposed to be there because they weren't from that part of town. I have a problem with that. We're not ones to judge, but after hearing the accounts of the owner game, it's pretty shocking to think what they did. They literally did things that put their own lives in danger, let alone lives of the people around them, crossing the boundaries. Like we said before, the world is filled with online reviewers who have tons of negative things to say about products, companies, and some of them are justified and some of them are not. But the people in this story were more than that. They were the kind of people who obviously don't have respect for other things, and they knew they weren't allowed to touch certain things, and they went to town on it anyway. Unknown backgrounds. When it comes to people like this, it's important to note that we don't have their backgrounds. For all we know, these individuals had a rough upbringing, and they weren't raised to understand what it means to respect things from them. That doesn't mean that it's justified, but it may help us understand a little bit more about the story. You never know these situations, and that's what makes the owner so awesome. The gracious owner. When you think about the fact that these young men destroyed the owner's escape room, were very rude to him, and wrote a terrible review, the owner still had the courtesy to give them a refund and invite them back. It just lets us know the kind of man he is. He probably knows he probably knows, like we just guessed, that these people might have gone through a lot of hardships in their life. For all we know, what they did was a big cry for help. Finding balance. How to deal with situations like this in their lives. In our lives. How do we find the perfect balance between dishing out discipline where it's needed and having empathy for the other way? Perhaps it's just comes with the life experience. Even every situation is different. There's not one size fits all formula for the works that everything. All people are different, and sometimes you just need to find a way to connect those on. The sky's the limit. So perhaps that what we're really asking here is that the people in this story going to learn their lesson, will they be able to understand what they did was wrong? Probably already know deep down it was a mistake, but sometimes it's hard to admit yourself. And that being said, if they're able to move on and find remorse for their actions, and yes, I am leaving a fucking thing because this is ridiculous, limits at their growth. Angry woman. It wasn't the first time someone left a rude review on Mouth. One businesswoman wanted to order takeout from a restaurant, but she neglected to read the honor that they don't offer takeout. Just called the the most unfriendly and arrogant restaurant in KC. I don't know where that is. Just called Voltaire to try to order some food because we're in a late business meeting across the street. First, they refused to answer our question about what type of broth they used in the risotto. Then they said they wouldn't pack food to go. My husband spoke to the manager and explained that we were in a conference room across the street and asked if they could pack the dinner, which we picked up. The whole just flashed out, refused to answer our question. Now, actually, one second. I'm pretty sure it could be there after this. I'm leaving. House's flat out reviews are on the phone. The manager told her this, and she got extremely hated and told her that she would be leaving a review. Sure enough, that's what he exactly did. The similar to statements are the manager as you see, the manager wasn't too happy the way the business was trashed by this woman. He mocked The things she wrote, such as the fact that she and her business colleagues were starving. I sincerely apologize we don't offer takeout at our restaurant. Being a Yelp user, I'm sure that you're aware our Yelp business page is on the side of our screen, the list of details of our establishment. No takeout. No, we have never offered takeout, and we believe the food we prepare should be presented as we see fit, usually on a plate inside the dining room. Nowadays, where people don't like coming to sit in restaurants, you have no choice. If they want to eat outside your restaurant, you can't tell them no. He told her that they can act. If they were actually starting the restaurant, would have been more happy to accommodate her. Since she had been other than that, there's no reason they should be getting special treatment. Okay, the thing is, but the manager wasn't done. He brought forward the hilarious analogy that you can read right here. He compared the restaurant service to that of a lawyer's. Wow. Okay. This person, the restaurant guy here, obviously can't take a little bit of criticism. Wow. It was made repeatedly in the conversation with your husband that he is a lawyer and that let me provide the following analogy, role reversal. It may assist my clarifying you. I want to hire you to handle my divorce, but I'm a tax lawyer. I don't care. I want you to handle my divorce. Da 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 da. Thanks for your feedback, and we will let you know if we decide in the future to practice versa. Provide takeout. If someone wanted to hire a tax lawyer to be a lawyer, da 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 da, all around us, pick your battles. Okay, here we go. You know, I just find the owner of the restaurant a douche. I really do. And it's like, bro, you know what? If she really wanted to, she could literally wreck your business. But she chose to actually do a nicer review than you deserve. So that's just my thoughts on it. Fire, fire everywhere. Ready, next to da. Next time you park here and block me in, I will monster truck your car into a pile of scrap. No parking here, please. Okay. What? Okay. The thing is that you guys are actually committing a crime by vandalizing these cars. But, okay. This is actually what I want to read. Okay, there's the runs in the family. Elementary school teacher here. We had a student who wouldn't stop stealing things out of other kids' backpacks. We would catch him on camera and call his parents, and they would just say no. Insert stolen item, just bought it for him. Then he would get it. Then we get him on a positive to create intentional lessons about empathy to others, getting goals that get you what you want, the difference between wants and needs, etc. Eventually, he gets enough positive days in a row to get released from the behavior plan and receives a free bike as his incentive for good behavior. They were donated to the school by a local bike shop. The next day, he tells me his uncle stole it and pawned it. He went right back to his old behaviors, and it was heartbreaking. I don't get why you were heartbroken or surprised. I had a student last year who was new to the school. Really nice, friendly, shy, hilariously absent-minded. He would come to school at least 2 days a week with either his shirt on backwards, inside out, or both. So I wanted to talk to his parents about his absent-mindedness and how it was affecting his life. His mom showed up at 5. His dad showed up an hour late. We have a good chat and get going and get up to go. As I am walking out, I said I would show them the shortest side of the parking lot. The dad replied, I didn't park in the parking lot, so I said, you can go the same way to the street. He said, I couldn't find the parking entrance, so I drove around and parked on an asphalt area. Sure enough, we walked by his car is next to the playground. It all came together. Yeah, fuck it. Students whose parents worked in the building. Students whose parents work in the building, work in the buildings, teachers, custodians, assistants, cafeteria workers, etc., are the worst. If the kid is a jerk, and you tell the parents, you have to continue to work with that parent long after the kid is gone. I had a student in middle school who was late for my class every day with a pass from his mom. I ended up having to go to the principal and have him take care of it. I'm pretty sure the principal was told that if you go any further with it, I'll sue you for harassment or something. I was teaching a sweet 13-year-old girl who obviously couldn't see the board very well and needed glasses. She was falling behind, and I called her mother. This is South London. Imagine a Jade Goody voice. And her mom told me to screw off, and I don't need freaking glasses, and my mother didn't need freaking glasses, so she doesn't need any freaking glasses. I hung up at that situation. I feel for that girl. You could, down there, actually, you could go to whatever, like CPS or something, and the CPS would come and take care of it, going above and beyond. A parent and child had complained about grading on the assignment. The parent emailed me the principal, the Board of Education, and Barack Obama. No reply from anyone except for the principal. Oh, hi. The school is not an octagon. Uh, oh yeah. I'm a high school teacher, and we have something called soft lockdowns, known as shelter in place by some schools. There are where doors are shut and locked, but classes continue as normal. These are pretty common and can be used for anything from medical emergencies, as they want everyone out of the hallway. If someone needs to be cared for because high school kids are noisy, to a fugitive running around the neighborhood. I've been in many soft lockdowns because parents have come to the school ready to hunt down and beat the crap out of a teacher. They usually come into the front office, can't access the rest of the school without someone opening the security door, screaming, cussing, and threatening everyone in the area. You get the picture. They often are removed by the SRO and given criminal trespass citations. We have plenty of high rate of fights and violence between the students. When I see the parents acting this way, it all makes sense. My partner used to be a high school teacher, and he always tells me the story about how one time one of the kids showed up at school, kids with a sledgehammer, because they gave to some detention. If I recall, the detention was for fighting too. It's only when a mosquito lands on your testicle that you realize there's always a way to solve a problem without using violence. I taught first grade school at a private school first year. I had the ultimate helicopter parent. He looked at everything and got on his child case about everything, from his test scores to the quality of his homework. He always had questions about the curriculum, the teacher methods, and etc. The child was a bit of precocious or whatever boy, a very smart yet already rebelling from being under his dad's thumb all the time. The dad wanted to come in and observe the behavior. The dad would volunteer in the classroom, but spent most of his time critiquing his son. He'd then want to have long conferences about his son's behavior. I told him I thought his son was acting out when he was there and didn't think he should be in the solution, and that anymore. And the dad's solution was to install a camera in the classroom so he could observe without actually being there. Obviously, that didn't happen. I learned a lot more about boundaries that year. Writing of a madman. Some of the best letters I've seen from parents: please postpone the test. My son left his backpack at school yesterday so he couldn't study. Do not write down my son's name as Chris M. just because the other student has his name first. He is receiving unequal treatment because you are addressing him by his first name and the first letter of his last name, and this is deeply unfair. And I will talk to your principal. No longer a child. Yeah, this is just basically. I read this one last night. This part right here last night, and it's basically that some parents like to call in to the synopsis of it is basically, if you're a parent and your child's at college, you are legally not allowed to ask questions, and they're legally not allowed to give you any answers. When I was still a student teacher, I asked my principal's cooperating teacher to sit in on a parent-teacher interview. The first parent was scheduled that night. The parent of the student was completely turned out in my class, usually sleeping, never doing any work, never did anything on the test assignment, and the usual stuff. The student was often caught on his phone class watching stream on Twitch, the volume on, and complaining when his phone would get confiscated. My cooperating teacher tells this parent all of the concerns in the nicest, most polite way, going as far as beginning to suggest the homework management solutions, the study tip, and even formulating a plan of action for the student so that his grades can improve come next term. Now, if I asked you to look up the definition of disconnected in the dictionary, you would find a picture of this woman. Everything my cooperating teacher said, all her concerns and suggestions in her plans went in one ear and out the other. When the teacher finished voicing her suggestions, I can't believe this woman's reaction. She blinks like one of those I have no idea what you said kind of blinks. Pauses for a whole 5 seconds and replies with, "How many students in your class?" My eyes immediately bulge out of your head and response, "The classroom size is not the problem. This is your child. Put zero effort in. Problem." The teacher politely replies with 26. Relatively small school for more than 1,700 kids. The woman stood up from her seat and so violently that the teacher flinched and proceeded to storm out the room mumbling, too many, class is too big, too many kids, too many. My cooperating teacher and I were both speechless. It turns out that she went straight to the principal's office right after the interview and began to complain about the class size and how it was hurting her son's education. When the principal said that there wasn't much she could do about the situation, that began with complaining about how the student teacher, obviously didn't know what we were doing and the kids were failing and that the regular teacher should teach the class alone. Thankfully, the principal backed me up, and I didn't believe that how airheaded the fucking parent was. Fucking whatever. Family of lies. I had a student who repeatedly lied about assignments, saying he turned them in and the teachers had lost them. As a team with admin parents present, we had a conference with mom and dad, who deflected and provided excuses that he just doesn't like school, and if my son says he did something, he did it. We value integrity in our family. 3 months later, some friends of mine invited me to a bar a few towns away to see a band perform. Near the end of the night, I ran into the mom, who was out on a date with a man who wasn't her husband. From that point on, she wouldn't return any of my emails or call. She is now an administrator in another country.
Okay. Okay. Get your priorities straight. This was the year. This was years ago, and it stuck with me. I was teaching high school, and my class was immediately after lunch. My class was held in a room full of computers, so there was a strict no food or drink policy. Every day, this student brings a slushie every day. I give him a choice of either finishing it quickly in the hallway or throwing it away. Obviously, he can't chug a slushie, so each day he throws most of it away, and I ask why he brings it, and all he has to say for me is that he doesn't feel like having it during lunch. Cut to the conference. I meet the mom because he's failing. He's there with her, and she doesn't mind the fact that he's failing. All she cares about is the 125 that I'm wasting her every day for making him throw away the slushie. I guess suggesting he eat lunch was not the response she was looking for. Thank God my ICR teacher was there with me. I'm pretty sure that she would have hit you. But Mom was sad. I'm a teacher in an elementary school. I teach elementary music, fuck. But I also assist in before school care. There was one boy in 3rd grade that was sitting at a table with several other students, and one girl was attempting to engage with a boy, and he abruptly stood up and pointed at the girl and screamed, "You are the devil!" Obviously, at that age, there is need for intervention because you can't talk to others in that fashion or that language. We always try to talk through emotions rather than explode. We call the mom and explain. The mom's first and only response was, "Well, if he called her the devil, she's probably the devil." It can be pretty clear to tell where that behavior comes from. Figure it out. I'm not a teacher, but I was in high school, a high school former tutor, and was ranting about one child's mom. The first year at it was the first year, and exams were approaching. This was one lad who comes to school but sleeps the entire day, never doing any work, like literally none, and would often fall asleep and ask why he was tired. The kid obviously the kid replied, "I don't know." After digging, they found out his routine was home from school, 2-hour nap, play Call of Duty throughout the night, and then have a bath before coming to school. His mom was called and told what was going on and why his son was failing. His response was, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" in a tone that suggests, "You're the teacher, so it's not my problem." Poor lad slept through a handful of exams he turned up to. Stupidly lazy. This is 16. Okay. Yeah, that felt better. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm only gonna read 2 or 3 more, and then I'll read more tomorrow. I was a French teacher of a kid in level 1 French class. Clearly, he put his assignment through Google Translator or something. I confronted him, and he admitted. I gave him an F, and his family absolutely lost him. They claimed that I was calling him stupid. Long story short, the principal gave him a redo on the assignment. Okay. See, in some families, you do not give an F to, even if they are stupid. because that family will sue the school. Like, pushed over the edge. I definitely am not a teacher. I swear, after I graduated high school, I heard that one of the best teachers I ever had ended up quitting. He was absolutely fantastic, and a very genuine human being. Everybody loved him, even if they hated the class. Well, the class behind me absolutely broke him. I remember being a large senior and watching the man become a hollow shell. At the end of the year, he ended up failing a girl because she never did work. Never tried, just kind of screwed around, even with extensions and help, and constantly gave him attitude. When the mom came to talk to him, she went off, accusing him of being prejudiced and doing it because he didn't like her daughter, blah, blah, blah. She ended up suing both him and the high school, and he quit. Yeah. Placing the blame elsewhere, this is the last one. I had a completely nightmare student who never did homework, never studied, and was terrible on tests. One day after class, I had scheduled a meeting with her parents and talked about her current app in the class and the possibility of repeating her. When the parents got here, they proceeded to yell at me and make threats that what they would do if their daughter didn't pass class. I told them it's obviously they were singling out her daughter and that she was doing bad because of me, my God, my parents have gotten ridiculous. How many are there? Wow. Okay.